What's up, guys? Marcellus Williams, aka TheSwolefessor, here to educate you on health and fitness and social well-being. Today, guys, we're talking about concurrent training.
I am the greatest.
Someone with power! Someone with power! Someone with dash! Someone with power!
Alright, guys, so if you all remember in a previous video, I mentioned concurrent training before because I talked about how there's myofibular hypertrophy, which comes from mechanical tension, meaning just putting more weight on the bar, and then there's sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, which comes from, doing lighter weight for more reps, really fatiguing your muscles due to metabolic fatigue. And if those of you who may or may not know, before I got on this powerlifting program, I was doing a push-pull leg split. It'd be 6 days out of the week, push-pull legs, rest. The first 3 days would be strength focused, and the second 3 days would be more hypertrophy focused based off my rep ranges. So as I explained to you guys before, whether you're doing 3 sets of 3, 5 sets of 3, 3 sets of 10, whatever, you can still build muscle as long as you're in a caloric surplus. That's why it's good to play with different rep ranges. Now, what concurrent training is, guys, is basically what you all know as power building. And I want to explain exactly what that is and why it's so effective. And the reason this was brought about is because I was talking to somebody over Instagram who was asking me questions about how to get his bench stronger. And he was talking about how he does like pyramid sets. He'll do start with a plate, then work his way up and just get the most he can, each set as he goes heavier. And while there's nothing wrong with that, with training that way from time to time, kind of like there's nothing wrong with, doing training to failure from time to time, it's really hard, guys, to consistently, progressively overload when you do that. And the reason is because you're combining your rep ranges on the same movement in the same day, which is something you don't want to do. So, for example, like I said, if let's say on my push day, my strength push day, I'm coming in and I'm doing on all my movements, I'm doing sets of 3, no more than 5, maybe sets of 3 on my big compounds like bench. And then maybe sets of 5 on everything else, like incline dumbbell press, weighted dips, all sets of 5. And then even on my isolate movements, not doing more than like 8 to 10. Then on the hypertrophy focused day, I'll be doing like 3 sets of 10 on my major compound movements. And then on my isolates, maybe do like sets of 12 to 15. The reason, guys, that works so well is because on one day, what you're doing is, like I said, you're getting stronger due to mechanical tension. You're lifting the heaviest amount of weight you can, for a few reps. And what that's going to do is tax out your peripheral nervous system. So the thing is, even though your peripheral nervous system is taxed during that, you're not doing a whole lot of metabolic fatigue. That's why a lot of guys, when they lift really heavy, they're not feeling all really like sore the next day so much as they're just feeling tired. You feel spent. And that works, guys, because then when you come in on that hypertrophy day, while your peripheral nervous system is getting a little bit of rest because you're not going as heavy, that's when you're hitting it with the metabolic fatigue because you're doing less weight for more reps. And it works because while one system is recovering, you're working the other system, but you're still hitting the same muscle groups, and that works really well, works really effectively. That's why power building, or what's really technically called concurrent training, works so well. You kind of get the best bang for your buck. You get the best of both worlds. The problem, guys, when you do things like pyramid training is you're taxing both systems at the same time, or when you just mix your set and rep ranges. Like if you come in and you do like heavy triples on bench press, and maybe you do like heavy sets of 5 on incline dumbbell press, but then all your other chest movements you're doing like sets of 10, 12, 15 reps, you're taxing both systems. You're taxing your peripheral nervous system with the mechanical tension, but then you're also inducing metabolic fatigue, which means that's more you have to recover from later, which makes it harder to come back in and hit that muscle group as efficiently. So even though it may seem like, oh, but I'm doing more work, so that's a good thing, right? I'm taxing both systems. But the thing is, you have to keep in mind, guys, when you're growing and getting stronger, that comes from recovery. When you're resting, when you're recovering, like we said, we work out to stimulate growth, to give our body a reason to grow. We are in a caloric surplus to give our bodies the energy it needs to grow. But when the growing is actually happening is when we're resting, when we're recovering. So just keep in mind, guys, that you gotta train smart. Like, don't overcomplicate the things by don't do too much at once. That's the whole point of concurrent training. You have one day where the intensity is higher, so it's not as much volume. It's either less sets, less rest, but heavier weight. But then you go in and you can do a day where you have, lighter weight, more reps. Now you want to make sure you progressively overload on both days regardless, meaning if you could do 5 sets of 3 with 300 on a movement, then the next time you come in on that strength day, you want to do 5 sets of 3 with 305. If you're doing 3 sets of 10 with like 135 on a movement for your hypertrophy day, the next time you want to be doing 3 sets of 10 with 140. That doesn't change, guys. No matter what your reps or sets are, progressive overload is always key. But You're just working the muscles in different ways. One is due to mechanical tension and taxing peripheral nervous system, and one is due to metabolic fatigue in the muscles. And I just wanted to address this really quickly, guys, because don't get caught up in some of these programs, guys. Some of these programs, they have you doing all kinds of crazy stuff, all these pyramid schemes, all these drop sets, supersets, stuff like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. There are some good programs that have things like that involved in it. But if that's what the bulk of it is, and it's not set up in a way that at least has you progressing weekly, because like if I have you on a pyramid set, but you're doing the same set, the same weight, things like that, but you're progressing a little bit on weight weekly, that can work. But when it's just random and sporadic, it's just going in and just doing what you feel every time, it's hard to consistently progressively overload because it's not structured progressive overload. So I just say that, guys, to just put the importance of understanding that no matter what program you're on or what you're doing, you got to make sure you progressively overload. I can't stress that enough. And I want to talk about this, guys, just because I think it's a really excellent way to train. If you're somebody that's on a push-pull leg split or upper lower split, or just any split where you're hitting each muscle group twice a week, I think it's always important to have a heavier strength focused day and then more of a higher rep hypertrophy focused day. You want to progressively overload on both. I know I keep saying that, but it's that important. But it's good to do that, guys. Concurrent training works really well that way. Or if you're just doing it one way or the other, where you're focusing like just on strength or just focusing on hypertrophy, that's fine, but you still don't want to do both in the same day because it's hard to recover from, and the longer and harder it is for you to recover, then that's more time from you actually being in the gym, stimulating more adequate growth. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I hope that was a simple enough topic. I hope I explained it in a simple enough way. If not, you already know, leave your complaints in the comment section down below. Like the video, share, subscribe. Keep it simple, specific, scientific. I'll catch y'all later.
I am the greatest.
Come on, look color.